Welcome back, dear viewers. As we said earlier that we are going to talk about the performance of the Egyptian economy in 2016, the important economic decisions that were taken by the government and the package of economic reforms and its impact on Egyptian citizens. And to shed more light on this issue, we are joined here in the studio with Mr. Ambassador Mohamed El Husseiny. He is the Economic Committee Director in the United Nations. Good morning, Mr. Mohamed.
Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Ambassador, today we want to talk about the 2016 economy, a kind of wrap-up of what happened last year. So we need to know your estimation for what happened in 2016 as a start.
At the start, what happened in 2016, it was the first year since June 1977 that Egypt faced its own problem. Because basically the previous governments have been coming the 70 years, it was actually look like we are taking a pain relievers, that we have the pain and we see the disease in our economy and we cannot face that. Why? Because we don't want the citizen to face the hardship or even to come against the government. But to return back to 2016, we got a new administration. This administration wanted to get back to return Egypt to how it was since 60 or 50 years ago. So in the beginning, in 2016, Egypt have delay in taking the decision of floating the bond because that's supposed to be done since 2 years ago. Because what happened in the country after the revolution in 2011 and the revolution in 2013, what happened is you have a lake and the financial fund which is coming to the country come in the less majors in the last 10 years. So when you talk about why we float the bond, and some of the people, which they don't know in the economy, the simple citizens, that they ask and they say, we are facing a hard time now, why did it happen, where is the positive effective for those decisions? When it's come to the economy is a complicated cycle. This complicated cycle, when you take the decision, there is no positive and negative. There is a long-run plan. Long-run plan, all of us need to look positive. We don't need to look negative. Why? Because now we are fighting back and we are solving our problem. I will symbolize that thing as when you go to a doctor, a surgery doctor, and you have a strong disease. This disease, you are taking a medication since 20 years and there is nothing is happened. So the doctor told you that he need to cut the disease part and then he will connect your body again. This is exactly what's happening in our economy. Because the first thing you take when you said, okay, I have a lack of fund, the foreign currency in Egypt in the last 3 years come to the less majors in the last 20 years, and that because of the tourists is not in the same income how it was before, because of course you are against war in the country and outside the country. And the second thing is the importing and the exporting gap. We are importing 80% of our goods, that there is no country, there is no uprising country with a strong economy importing 80% of its goods unless they are exporting 70 or 75%. Look like Singapore. Singapore is importing 92% of them goods, but they are exporting 95% to the worldwide. But you are importing 80% and you are exporting something like 20% of your goods. And some of these goods you are exporting the raw material, and this is a disaster. So when you consider it like that there is the foreign currency coming, or the dollar, let's say it like that, by the first thing is the Egypt, the tourist, this is already full. Number two, the export, it's not, and you have a war even in the 20% abroad. And the third thing, the huge gap happening in the importing the goods, which are the necessary and the unnecessary. And the fourth thing is Suez Canal income have been also less, not because of Suez Canal, because of the international trade have been go in 30.5%, which when you combine all of that, meaning the out resources to the country for the foreign currency come down. So you cannot say that the pound is the dollar is 8.5 pound. No, the actual price is 13. So that was the first decision. That decision is supposed to be promoted. What we didn't do. What we do is we did the decision late in November 3rd. You're supposed, before you do the decision when it's come to the economy, you put 3 plans. The first plan is what will be the effective of this to the simple citizen, and the second thing to the investors, how you can seek the direct and the indirect investors to the country, and the third thing, what will be your plan for the long run to making stabilization to your market. So based on that, what happened is the government make the order of floating the pound, and we didn't promote it in the right way, and we take it at the full floating under the base of the demand and supply to the banks. The only good thing is we killed the black market, because the black market, it was look like you are in two lines, the economy of the country and the black market, and the black market was eating the goods, was controlling everything in the country, and the only one who was suffering from that was the simple citizen. So what you are facing now, you are facing after you make the floating of the pound, you already remove the fuel subsidies, and that cause for you uprising to the prices for all the goods. Yeah, we are facing a hard time in 2016, and it will come more harder in 2017.
Yes, this is my coming question to you, yeah. And your expectations for the year 2017 on the economic front.
Actually, when we look to 2017, we first, as what we talk in 2016, the orders and the decision have been done. Yes. The VAT, which the new tax have been done, and removing the fuel subsidies. Not removal, yani, let's say we already cut it in steps, and then number 3, floating the pound. Number 4, we also did to the IMF. We have, yes. They are looking to us now with a different look, because we are not talking about the loan here, because the loan will go direct to the development in the country, in the poor destinations, look like the villages and places like that, and also to support the fuel. Yes. So when you come like that, the IMF, we apply for that loan since 2 or 3 years ago. Now, when they saw you at the government, you are already moving forward for that. They already approve, and they already sent for you $2.3 billion. So based on that, we are already moving. In 2017, we will face this decision on the ground. How? Now, the simple citizens, they are complaining about uprightening the prices, and you cannot uprise the salaries, because the institutions, the establishments, or the companies, or even the government firms, they have looked like a major standard system in uprising the salaries, you know, by an annual increase or a half annual increase. And what's happening in the country affecting now the investors. The local investors, not the foreign investors, because the local investors have take a plan in the last 10 to 15 years in importing everything. Now, you don't have other, because the government have put a decision in March in uprising the custom fees, because now they don't want you to import everything, they want you to work. So the factories in the country have make a lot of requests saying, we have a problem when it's come to the gas and the fuel and the electricity. The government, the industrial union chambers have made a statement before 3 months ago that the government have already, and the Minister of Trade and Industry have already decided to lower the prices to the factories and support those the debits to the banks and the financial debts they have it in the last 4 years. So doing that, it will reverse the cycle of production to the country. It means that now we can compete when it's come to the exporting. And then the second thing, in giving to the market the Egyptian products. This is the only way for us to not to make the simple citizen suffer, because if you are taking that good, you are importing that from China, it was costing you before something like £1, now it's costing you £100, but you can't take it in the Egypt local market with a £10. So the simple citizen, or we are talking about 75% of the population in Egypt, will go to this market. But you cannot do that like that. This is the only problem we are facing in Egypt, because we have two councils or committees is not working in Egypt. They don't have an effective. The first one is the consumer protection. Consumer protection, the first major of them objects as a council, they must go and make a plan and control the markets. You cannot leave the market to the trade. The trader, he wants to gain a profit. He don't care what, okay, you don't have money, so don't come to me. But there must be a powerful movement from the consumer protection to find these prices. The prices now is rising up to 300%. You can imagine that. And some goods, of course, the imported one. And the second thing, you need to put the international standard and the quality in the manufacturer for the Egyptian goods. They have made a new trend, and I volunteer in that, which is Made in Egypt slogan, that you are already putting standards to the factories. You need to follow these standards to compete the worldwide standards for the goods. So coming to your question about the expectation to 2017, you can say that the first 6 months of 2017 is what's happening now. What you are facing now as a simple citizen, we will continue that up to June 2017. But will not be more economic orders or decisions.
More increase in the prices?
No, the prices now, it's look like to the dollar. It's coming the demand and supply. Yes. But what the government is doing now is they are cutting the resources to take these prices. The prices now is already high. It cannot be more higher than that. It cannot. Yeah. And the dollar cannot be more higher than that. The dollar now, after we received the second scale of the loan, and after supporting our industry, this is what we need to move. The government need to move in that, because based of supporting your industry, the industry is the backbone to the economy. This is the only salvation for us to return prices to the normal measurement
and to lower
the prices, of course. But the second half of 2017, you will find already a kind of stability. Yes. A kind of stability in the economy. Why? Because the control of all of this cycle is the foreign currency, nothing else. So,
but sir, of course, the economic measures that were taken, it's for the public benefit. But the middle class are already suffering.
Yeah.
So when the middle class are suffering, what about the low-income brackets?
Okay, this is a good question, because actually the middle class is suffering. Why? Because the income to them is the same, right? And let's put it like that. Those who they don't have a stable income, and this is a big scale in our community. What you will do to them? The administration in the country is already facing the hardship that no president can face what President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is facing. Nobody is supporting him. I am talking about worldwide. Before, when your voice is not coming up or uprising, everyone is giving you donation and support. Now, when you return back Egypt's decision in the international firm, there is a brothers and there is neighbors is coming against your decision, because it's already coming not in a crossing to them policy. So your president is working alone. The only trust he have for the Egyptian people, and the Egyptian people already give him this trust, and they are already carrying with him in this particular time. When you come now to those in needs, because those they don't have a stable income, what we need to do as the government here in Egypt is the first thing that the army have make something like this for the consumer units to distribute the goods in a low prices, and this is in everywhere in the country. When you look to this, not to the mid class, I will talk about the lower class. To them, the only
Actually,
important.
sir, we need to know more about what you're saying, but we ran out of time.
Yeah,
And Ambassador Mohamed El Husseiny, Economic Committee Director at the UN, thank you very much for joining
My pleasure,
us. And welcome once again to Breakfast
My
Show.
pleasure, ma'am. My pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. And now, dear viewers, we'll see you tomorrow with a new crew. And I'd like to thank my colleague Gina.
Thank you, Shireen. Thank you so much. And